Hi, for those who don't already know me, my name is Lisa, and I have been studying and foraging for mushrooms for almost 9 years. Basically, since I first started going to the Mendocino coast, which is in Northern California. And I have been giving talks for 5 years along the Mendocino coast on how to forage for mushrooms and why you should. Because people don't know mushrooms are amazing, and I hope to show you this now, sort of a glimpse into the talks that I have done, why you should eat mushrooms and maybe even grow your own. Um, uh, Mendocino, if you don't know, is known for its diverse and abundant mushrooms, so it was a good place to learn. I typically read research papers, books on the subject. I include historical and cultural uses when I find them in my talks. This is a little bit different. Putting this together has been a little bit of a struggle because I don't typically talk much about any specific disorder or disease. I typically will do an intro and then talk about the specific mushrooms that grow in that area and why they're so wonderful. But mushrooms as a whole contain so much beneficial nutrients and minerals, and vitamins, phytochemicals, amino acids, that I had to do this. But the actual mineral vitamin content can vary wildly from mushroom genus to genus. For example, morel mushrooms contain 68% of the daily value of iron, whereas portobellos contain only 2%. So this is not typically something that I do, but mushrooms as a whole are such a critical part of our diet these days that I had to do this. The one thing that anyone can do to improve their immune system and general nutrition, particularly in order to survive this current strain of coronavirus, is to eat as many mushrooms and as many different kinds of mushrooms as you possibly can, but especially wild ones. They nourish us in so many ways that no other individual food can. They increase the overall nutrition in our diet in multiple ways. They improve and even modulate our immune system. They modulate our immune system. They can affect our immune system up or down as needed. They ensure that our body's defenses do not become overwhelmed but are able to return to a state of harmony faster. Mushrooms are nutritional powerhouses. They contain several nutrients that are hard to get in a vegan diet, such as copper, selenium, magnesium, manganese, phosphorus, potassium, zinc, and iron. They are high in a wide range of vitamin B's, and a few even contain B12, which is otherwise only found in meat products. They are good sources of protein. Oyster mushrooms contain the most protein per ounce at 3 grams per 86 grams of mushroom or sliced, or about 1 cup. White button mushrooms contain the most protein per calorie at 0.6 grams of protein in an 18-gram mushroom. So while mushrooms cannot directly replace meat, they don't have quite as much protein, they can, with all of the other minerals and vitamins that they contain, go a long way to filling that hole in your diet if you're not eating meat, or if things really go haywire and you cannot eat meat. Mushrooms also contain complex carbohydrates and are low in fat. Some even contain vitamin C. Additionally, mushrooms are the only non-fortified vegan source of vitamin D. Nothing else in the produce section contains vitamin D. Nothing. Recent research has shown that how sick you get depends directly on how much vitamin D was already in your body. The more in your system at the moment you become infected, the less symptoms you will have. This is notable because a vitamin D deficiency has been proven to cause a wide range of negative effects, ranging from increased rates of seasonal colds, influenza, respiratory infection, common cancers, autoimmune disorders, hypertension, osteoporosis, osteopenia, fractures, and rickets in children. Rickets, which you might have thought went the way of the Victorian age, no. It has been making a comeback worldwide over the last 20 years. Vitamin D deficiency was declared a worldwide pandemic in April 2008 issue of American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, with 1 billion worldwide declared deficient in vitamin D. People of color have a harder time absorbing sunlight. They have been found to consistently have less vitamin D in their blood than fair-skinned people. However, fair-skinned people who consistently use high SPF sunscreen and hats will also have lower blood levels. For those who live in more northerly states, the problem is even worse, because there's such a lack of daylight throughout so much of the year. Typically, the U.S. recommended daily allowance for vitamin D is 600 international units. I have found in my research that the recommended daily allowances, the RDA, is really a minimum threshold for sustaining life without debilitating diseases. They won't keep disease away. You have to ingest more of those nutrients in order to do that. Case in point, Dr. Andrew Weil, MD, and Integrative Medicine Advocate, takes 1,200 international units of vitamin D daily. So he takes in double what the government recommends daily. For those with some kind of disease, especially chronic in nature, it is recommended that you take 2,000 international units per day. A serving of white button mushrooms that have been exposed to sunlight have been found to contain 1,000 international units of vitamin D. Unfortunately, mushrooms bought at supermarkets, cremini, portobello, white button, and shiitake mushrooms specifically are usually grown in dark rooms and receive no sunlight. According to Dr. Paul Stamets, this can be easily remedied by leaving your mushrooms in a sunny window for 2 days. At that point, they will have reached their max vitamin D content. From personal experience, if you leave them there longer than that, because you're just not convinced and it's a very sunny window, you risk altering the texture of those mushrooms. And you may not like what you get. So listen to Paul Stamets and Dr. Paul Stamets, and leave them in the sunny window for no more than 2 days. If you didn't pick your own and are concerned that they may not, and by pick your own I mean wild mushroom that you went out and picked on your own, and are concerned that they may not have as much vitamin D as they could, just put them in a sunny window. Even if they're already dried, they will still absorb that sunlight and change the ergosterol in them into vitamin D and hold on to that for you. Mushrooms are amazing. Wild grown mushrooms that have grown in full sun will, of course, have more mushrooms than those that have grown deep in the forest. How they are grown and dried really makes a big difference as to their vitamin content. The vitamin D content. This is important because shiitake, grown under normal conditions, which is, even if they're grown outside, it's like under partial shade, whatnot. But sun-dried with gills upright, which is not at all how they are typically dried, have been found to contain as much as 46,000 international units of vitamin D per 100 grams, or 3.5 ounces, which is a serving of mushrooms. Let me say that again, okay? Because that is so important for people to hear, especially because hardly anybody dries mushrooms this way. Shiitake mushrooms, grown the way that people typically do, outside of the commercial venture anyway, and dried with the gills upright in the sun, have been found to contain as much as 46,000 international units of vitamin D in one serving of mushrooms. How amazing is that? How amazing is that? You could, like, if you're eating mushrooms every day, well, you're definitely getting enough. I don't know that there's anything such as an overdose of vitamin D. I've never heard of that. But it means that you could take a serving of mushrooms and divide it up amongst your family, and everybody's taken care of as far as vitamin D goes. Now you'll want more mushrooms to get some of those other nutrients beefed up in your system, but as far as vitamin D goes, you're taken care of. And your likelihood of suffering disease, especially the worst symptoms of disease, goes down dramatically. So, eat your wild mushrooms, forage them if you can, And if you can't, whatever you do, however you get your mushrooms, put them in some sunlight. Dry them gills up if you can in the sun. Because, people whose diets are lacking this, they get sick faster, they stay sicker, they are far more prone to developing complex diseases. So, Northwestern University released a study of patients from 10 countries showing that those with severe shortages of vitamin D are twice as likely to suffer severe complications from COVID-19. Twice as likely. So, one of the biggest risk factors for hospitalization of COVID-19 is having an underlying condition. So, if you have an underlying condition and you are low in vitamin D, it's just so much worse. And if you have an underlying condition, there's a good chance that you're already low in vitamin D, especially with so many people worldwide being already low on it. So, mushrooms are essential to building up our nutritional defenses at this time. They really are. They can keep you healthier for longer, even if you get the virus. The more mushrooms that you eat, the healthier you remain. At the August 31st, 2005 meeting of the American Chemical Society, researchers presented a paper stating that shiitake, maitake, which is also known as the hen of the woods, very yummy, oysters, and king oysters especially, are the highest known sources of ergothioneine. Never heard of it? Not surprised. It's an amino acid that contains sulfur and is so important that some say that it should be the next vitamin. The body stores it in large quantities, particularly in the mitochondria, which leads researchers to believe that it has something to do with defending against destruction of your DNA. It makes sure that nutrients go where they are most needed when one is impaired. It's the last defense against oxidative stress, but also plays a role in minimizing the effects of poor diet and stress on the body before that point, at least in part by concentrating at the site of tissue injury. Research has shown a correlation between low blood level of ergothioneine and the onset or progression of disease. In the May 15, 2020 publication of the International Journal of International Journal of Cancer, researchers published a study of a total of 36,499 men between the ages of 40 to 79 who had been followed for either 13.2 or 24.5 years. The study followed their diets, especially the mushroom consumption, as well as their health habits. Researchers found that men who ate mushrooms once or twice a week had an 8% less occurrence of prostate cancer. As opposed to men who ate once or less per week. Men who ate mushrooms 3 to 4 times a week did even better. They were found to have a 17% less likely occurrence of prostate cancer over men who ate mushrooms once or less time per week. So, the more mushrooms you eat, the healthier you will remain. Researchers believe that ergothioneine is directly responsible for the impressive results. Ergo is also found in all other mushrooms as well as some other foods, but in much smaller quantities. Ergothioneine is only synthesized by fungi and bacteria. Only. That's why it's so high in mushrooms and nothing else. Because anything else that you're eating that contains some of that had to have had contact with fungi or bacteria during the growing process in order to contain any ergothioneine. Mushrooms make it, and we need it. Mushrooms are immune modulating. They cause the body to come back to a state of homeostasis, a state of harmony. Cell walls of mushrooms contain beta-glucan, a very specific kind of sugar that is a biological response modifier. It grows a specific number of linkages it needs to fit the needed cell to turn it on or off in keeping with the body's needs. The beta-glucan becomes a specific key that the body needs to be able to fight the pathogen that is attacking it. After eating beta-glucans, they hang out in your liver and spleen until they have degraded and continue to do their job while they're there. This means that you're less likely to get ill, less likely to stay ill, and less likely to develop the worst symptoms of an illness simply by eating mushrooms. They also give you immune memory so that when your body encounters an illness, again, they will be able to fight it off more quickly. Additionally, fungi are susceptible to the same pathogens, the same bacteria and viruses that we are. So, the immunity that a mushroom develops in fighting off this pathogen, we get when we eat it. So, this is probably the most important reason to eat wild mushrooms. Because commercially grown mushrooms aren't exposed to those pathogens like wild mushrooms are. They haven't had the opportunity to develop that immunity like wild mushrooms have. And so eating wild mushrooms is like eating a mild antibiotic or antiviral without the negative effects to our gut flora. Beta-glucans are also found in celery cereals such as oats and barley, yeast, seaweed, algae, and lichens. However, mushrooms contain far more than any other group. Far more. Those with the highest levels seem to be oysters, maitake, again, hen of the woods, shiitake, Layla, and reishi. Sorry, my dog was just about to run out the door. One thing about reishi, it is a powerful medicine. It does and will work, but some people need to be very careful about using it. It lowers blood pressure. If you're already low, it will lower it even further. That is what I have seen. The more you take and the more concentrated it is, the stronger of an effect it will have. Also, if you're taking medication for high blood pressure, reishi will lower it further. So be careful. Less really is more. If you have untreated high blood pressure, you may want to think about taking reishi. Like I said, it will work. It may very well solve your problem. But you want to think twice about it if you're already being treated. An herbalist may be the best person for you to seek out because they will know how to meet your needs and can even talk with your doctors to make sure that you're getting what you need. Mushrooms also build your gut biome directly and indirectly. How this happens varies specifically on which mushroom we are discussing. However, a number of them have anti-inflammatory effects. On which mushroom we are How this happens very specifically on which mushroom we are discussing. However, a number of them have anti-inflammatory effects on the gut. As well, the flesh of the mushroom contains prebiotics, a favored food for the good bacteria in your gut. White button mushrooms in particular have been shown to have a positive effect on your gut biome through methods that we don't fully understand. But the research shows that a damaged digestive system has a better chance of healing faster and remaining healthier throughout if the person had been eating mushrooms before becoming ill. The healthier your gut, the healthier you are. So mushrooms help you get and stay healthier even when there isn't a pandemic. They help you develop immunity to whatever pathogen you have been exposed. They have been found to assist our bodies in developing long-term reminders of a pathogen so that you can better fight it later. In fact, your body is far better able to do this with mushrooms than without them. They contain vitamins that are hard to find elsewhere and are critical to our health. Many people have been concerned about a reemergence of COVID-19 and of getting sufficient nutrition due to the effects of the virus on our economy and food supply. Eating mushrooms will help your body better resist, heal from, and defend itself from COVID-19 than any other known food. Not eating them makes you more susceptible to disease and its worst symptoms. Please eat your mushrooms and as many different ones as possible, but especially wild ones. Those who can should consider growing their own, which can even be done in tiny apartments. They are a great deterrent to shelter-in-place boredom. You can watch them grow right before your eyes, but if you could get some sun and a little fresh air, that would make them and you even healthier. If you're interested in beginning foraging in your area, I highly recommend seeking out the guidance of someone in your area who is an experienced forager. Please know that what you're eating before you do. There are a number of books and internet groups that can be a great resource. At the beginning of the talks, Thank you. Sorry, my dog literally got out the door. So I forgot to lock the door and it blew open. So anyway, I plan on doing more videos, including going out and doing some foraging videos, and I will be talking specifically about how to forage for mushrooms and why you should. I will also be doing an unboxing of this mushroom kit I bought from Far West Fungi. If you live anywhere in the Bay Area, they probably have a farmer's market near you where they sell mushrooms as well as mushroom kits. They also have stores and a farm, but right now the stores and farms seem to be closed to public. So farmers market is where you want to go to get their products. So I have a lot more planned for this. I really want to show everyone all the great wonders and benefits of mushrooms, and I hope that you will come watch again. I have some interesting things planned, and if this has been helpful to you, which I really hope that it has, please share. I think that everybody really needs to hear this information because most people don't know. Mushrooms are and can be so incredibly beneficial to us. So please share. You never know who this is going to help. And if you wouldn't mind, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. If you click on the bell, then YouTube will notify you every time that I post a new video. Until then, I hope that you and yours are well. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.